society, and mostly the world would like you to believe that only half of your energy is valuable. Only half of your energy is worth harnessing and expressing, and the other half is not worth much at all, maybe even shameful, wrong in most ways, and you should just work to overcome it. But none of that is true. You need both of these energies within you. They are both powerful, purposeful, and beautiful energies. They exist within all of us and they balance each other beautifully. So we can't ignore half of who we all are. So what halves am I talking about? Well, it's the masculine and feminine parts. And of course, it's the feminine half that most cultures and societies tells us today is bad and wrong and not worth too much. And I'm not talking about being a woman or a man. I'm talking about energy, energetic principles. The masculine and feminine are both within you, all of you, regardless of who you are watching this, regardless of your gender, and they are both required for manifestation, for reality creation. And most people in the manifestation world are stuck in only one of these energies, the masculine, the doing, the forcing, the deciding, the techniques, the pushing, the making it happen. And then they wonder why nothing is really happening for them. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you why feminine energy is the missing piece for most people, what it actually means to manifest from feminine energy, and how to bring it into your manifestation work, reality creation, so creation can finally flow, one of the core principles of feminine energy, flow the way it's supposed to. If you're new here, hello, I am your Muse Traci. On this channel, I help you unlock the power you already have but can't access. I help you break through where years of trying has already failed. I help you go from intellectually knowing the law to permanently embodying it. If all of that sounds good to you, you are definitely welcome to stick around, subscribe to my channel, and learn lots of things for your own empowerment. That's what we're all about on this channel. So let's start with the foundation, because if you don't understand this, then the rest will not quite land as effectively. Every act of creation requires two principles, masculine and feminine, active and receptive, projective and magnetic. And this is one of the principles that I talked about in my Kabbalion video. I will link that video up here. I never know which side to point to, where you can learn about all of the principles, universal laws. But I did speak about this universal law briefly, and it's the principle of gender. Everything has both. Every act of creation requires both. The masculine energy is the active force. It's the seed. It's the clarity. It's the decision. It's the assumption that you set. And the feminine energy is the receptive force. It's the soil. It's the allowing. It's the trust. It's the magnetism that draws what you've assumed into your reality. And you need both. One without the other doesn't create. Pure masculine without feminine becomes forcing, pushing, efforting. You set the assumption, but you're still white knuckling it. You can't relax into receiving because you're too busy doing more to get the thing. While pure feminine without masculine becomes passive, waiting, sitting back and hoping, and you don't take a clear stand. You don't decide what your new assumption is. You wait for the universe to figure it out for you. Figure out what's meant for me or what the divine timing is, right? And nothing gets decided, nothing gets directed. But when you balance both of these energies, your manifestations can flow effortlessly. You decide with masculine clarity, and then you receive with feminine openness. You direct, and then you allow. You set the assumption, and then you trust, and you surrender and let go. So here's what I see constantly with people who are struggling to manifest. They're brilliant at the masculine energies. They know how to set goals. They know how to take action. They know how to do the techniques. They know how to visualize, affirm, script, do sats. Everything that they need to do know they can do. They're doing constantly, trying to force, trying to make it happen, trying. But they struggle. They cannot, for the life of them, surrender. They cannot trust and allow and really receive. They are struggling to receive. They think they have to do in order to receive. And the moment they finish their visualization, they're checking their phone for evidence. The moment they are done affirming, they're scanning their 3D for proof of the evidence that their affirmations are showing up. The moment they set an intention, they're immediately trying to figure out how to make it come true. And that's all masculine. And it's at the end of the day, if you stay in that energy, it's blocking the manifestation because the masculine has done its job. The moment you recognize your new assumption, you declare what you want, you've imagined it. Well, now you have to shift into the feminine energy. You have to shift into receiving what you decided for. You have to allow the things that you've assumed into your reality. And you have to trust. You have to trust and know how powerful that energy is. And people struggle with this part, so they just keep flipping back into doing. They keep going back to doing. As I just said in my last video, doing is easier than being. So they keep flipping back into doing. What can I do? I've got to do something. I've got to do. And they keep staying in the masculine energy. And they're wondering why nothing is showing up. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every few hours to check and see if it's growing. Right? There's no surrender. There's no trust. There's no allowing. There's no allowing the fertile ground to, do its thing, do its magic. There's no trust there. And your seeds that you're planting when you're manifesting, they need to be left alone in the soil, in the dark. They need to be left there in the dark, receptive, magnetic space where the seed can actually sprout and grow into a plant. You can't have a garden without that dark, fertile ground, that soil. You can't have manifestation without feminine energy. So let me get specific about what feminine energy actually means in manifestation because, this word gets thrown around and a lot of people, most people don't really understand it. This isn't about wearing pink, although I did wear pink for this video. It's not about it's not doing, okay? Feminine energy is not doing. It's not doing your nails, doing your hair, putting your makeup on, putting perfume on, it's not any of those things. What it actually is surrender, releasing the need to control how and when, trusting the universe, your universe, to handle what you've decided, allowing, letting what you've called in to actually come to you, not blocking it with doubt, not blocking it with checking, digging up the soil without trying to get it to come to you faster. It's about receiving, being open to what comes in, not pushing it away immediately because it doesn't look exactly the way you thought it would. No, that's not what I ordered. Saying yes to what is flowing towards you because everything is leading to your manifestation. You don't need to block or push anything away. You trust and you know that the assumption you set is already in motion. That's when the assumption is set, that part of the process is done. There's no more for you to keep setting. You need to shift into trusting, not needing proof, not needing reassurance, not needing evidence, not needing to see it, just trusting, knowing, a quiet, settled knowing that what you want is already yours. Not loud declarations, not, over loud confidence, just a quiet, deep knowing within yourself that creates comfort. visualizing. And, this is an interesting thing, an interesting one, because people think visualization as masculine as something that you do, but true visualization is actually very feminine. It's about being in the experience, being in that experience in your body, feeling it, receiving the sensations of already having what you want. You're not efforting to make something happen. It's this embodiment. You're visualizing to embody the feeling of having it. And this is very feminine energy. And this is what most people are absolutely missing. So let's talk about why this is so hard. And part of that is, like I've been saying, doing is easier than being. And a lot of what is feminine isn't doing, it's being. What are you being? What are you being? What are you being? And if it were easy, everyone would just have it mastered, right? But most of us were raised in a culture that praises only the doing, praises the masculine, action, doing, achieving, producing, pushing, getting things done, having a plan, having a structure, right? We learned that to get what we want, we have to work hard, to push through, force and make it happen, just at all costs, make it happen. This is what is valued most in a lot of societies. And when you come into manifestation and you bring in that same energy and you try to manifest the same way that you would build a physical structure or build a physical business or, anything like that with effort, with more pushing, with more doing, that's not how manifestation works. It's a different skill. Doing is only half of it. It's only half of what you need to master. And honestly, that doing, like I've been saying, is the easier half. The feminine is harder for most people. It should be easier, but for most people, because we've never been trained to just be according to, what you choose. Be in your own energy. Be in the energy that you want to be in. We don't know how to surrender. We're not taught to surrender. I can speak to that personally. I used to not even understand that word, was so foreign to me, like the concept. I literally had to look it up. I was like, what even is that? So you can feel like that. I know I felt like that years ago. And this is another common thing that I find with people is we don't know how to receive without earning. And again, guilty. I definitely was conditioned to believe have to earn. And this even includes things like love and, things that should be freely given. Even things that should be freely given, a lot of times we are conditioned to believe you got to earn that. Nothing comes for free. And of course, we don't always know how to trust without proof because again, we were taught to look around, see what's there, and then decide what to believe according to what's there. So we weren't really taught how to trust and believe before seeing. And so we default to what we know, more doing, more techniques, more effort, and this causes you to stay stuck. The work isn't to do more masculine things. So the work that most people need to put in here is to learn how to be in feminine energy. And again, I'm not talking about gender here. You're male or female. If you're female, you need to learn. I'm not talking about that. Again, these energies exist within all of us. And if you're male or female and you're trying to manifest, you need to learn how to harness both of these energies, because they bring balance to one another. A lot of masculine energy with no feminine energy is out of balance. That is out of balance. A lot of feminine energy with no masculine energy. I mean, that's not really a thing because, and I'm just talking about within yourself. I'm not talking in relationship dynamics, but like within yourself, if you have a lot of feminine energy, but you don't have, structure, the ability to act, the ability to like build and take action and follow a plan, you're going to not really be able to be in your feminine energy. You're not really going to be able to surrender and trust because you don't have that container, that plan, that structure that really allows you to surrender and trust. You see how they balance each other? They need each other to be their fullest expression. One without the other, either way, is out of balance and it's not as powerful. So let's get practical here. How do you actually bring these energies into balance and help you with manifesting? So first, set the intention and then let go. When you visualize, when you affirm, when you do your work, do it fully, and then that's the masculine, and then release it. Don't keep digging up the seeds. You have to let it go. You have to surrender. You have to move into trust. You don't keep checking and digging things up. You've got to let them be below the surface, in the dark, unseen, and you trust. You know that you did your job. You planted the seed. So you stop checking 3D. Every time you check for evidence, you are in the masculine. Make it happen energy. So you need to stop being in that energy and trust what you assumed is unfolding, even when you can't see it. Then you need to receive the compliments, the gifts, the kindness without deflecting. Practice receiving in your daily life. Everything. You can practice this with virtually everything. And most people are not very good at this. They deflect, they minimize, they feel uncomfortable, and, they're not good at it. So practice saying thank you and actually taking it in, not thank you. Oh, thank you. It's really not that great. That thing that people do. They say thank you, but then they're like minimizing the thing that they were just complimented for. No, it's just, oh, you look beautiful today. Thank you so much. You don't have to point out what didn't go great. Oh, I guess so, but there's this stain on my pants, You don't need to do that. Just practice receiving the compliments, whether you think it's justified or not. Just receive. Practice doing nothing. This is a big one. This is very feminine energy. And, most people are really uncomfortable here. So practice doing nothing, where you sit and you breathe and you just be, without a list, without a plan, without an agenda, without productivity. Can you just be, or do you have to earn your right to exist by being busy? No, just be. This is the foundation of feminine energy. Trusting without evidence. When doubt creeps in and your masculine wants to come back in and take more action, just pause. Choose to trust instead. Choose to feel that what you want is already on its way without needing to see it. And last, you can visualize as receiving. So when you visualize, don't push images into your mind. Just receive them. Let the experience of your desired reality wash over you. Be in it like you're receiving a gift, not like you're striving and working to create something. Even in your visualization, you can practice this receiving. So this is how you can start to build your feminine energy and cultivate your familiarity and your comfortability with it. Now, let me share a client story with you. So I had a client who was the queen of doing, as I'm sure a lot of us can relate to. And she had read every single Neville book. She knew every technique. She did her sats religiously. She affirmed all day. She journaled. She was a doer. And she'd done a vision board and, had this very sort of detailed plan. The whole thing. She knew the whole thing inside and out, forward and back. And she was quite exhausted, actually, and wasn't getting a whole lot of results, as you can imagine. And so we started working together, and I asked her a question early on in our sessions. And I said, when was the last time you let yourself receive without earning it first? And she couldn't remember. She couldn't even think of an instance where she had done that. She had been earning her entire life, it seemed like. And she didn't know how to receive without earning. She had no idea how to surrender. She struggled with a lot of things. She struggled with doing nothing. She struggled with almost every aspect that I just listed about how to drop into your feminine energy and practice it. She struggled with all of them. So we worked on exactly that. We worked on her ability to receive without deflecting, to trust without seeing the evidence, to let go of trying to control the path, And, she had to resist the urge and the temptation to keep adding more techniques. She actually took away techniques from my recommendation. I was encouraging her to stop doing so much, do less. We don't need to do more. We actually need to do less in this case. And the only thing that I really wanted her to add was this feminine aspect, right? The ability to surrender, her practice of allowing, her ability to receive, her ability to trust in unseen. So this is all we focused on. She still did some techniques, but it was a lot less than what she was doing when she came to me. And within weeks, things she'd been doing techniques on for years started flowing into her reality. Yep, because she got out of the way. She got out of the way. She finally stopped doing and she shifted into receiving. And this is what's possible when you stop doing. You got to get out of doing. There has to be a point in time where you stop doing and you allow and you trust and you surrender and you receive. You have to open yourself to receiving what you've assumed. So your feminine energy is your magnetism. It's what draws everything you've assumed into your reality. It's what allows what you've already claimed as yours to actually arrive. And without it, you're sending out signals sending out, and nothing can come in because all the energy is going out, right? So you have to bring it back. You have to allow your energy to just be here, and then everything can start to come in. And when you cultivate your feminine energy, you become more magnetic. Things will start to flow to you out of nowhere and in amazing quantities. People show up. Opportunities appear, money comes in seemingly from out of nowhere, your SP reaches out, all because you stop putting out the energy that was holding everything back there, right? So you have to bring your energy back and allow things in. You have to become a receptive vessel that can actually receive what it is you've assumed and chosen and decided. And this is the missing piece for so many people. Again, it's not another technique. It's not another video. It's not another teacher. It's your own feminine energy that already exists within you. It's already in there. Remember in the Kabbalion video, everything has these two genders inside of them. So you don't have to create the feminine energy. It's already in there. You just have to start getting back in touch with it and cultivating it and allowing it and stop suppressing it, right? And I've gone through a lot of different ways of how you can practice that in this video. And this is really what changes everything with manifestation. So if you've been doing a lot of doing and still feel stuck, look at your ability to be in your own feminine energy. Are you surrendering or are you still forcing? Are you allowing or are you still trying to control? Are you receiving or are you still earning? Are you trusting or are you doubting and needing the evidence? Most people are doing the masculine really well, and very few are doing the feminine really well. The feminine is what empowers the masculine, right? They need each other to balance to be their most powerful. If you want my help developing your feminine energy and getting back in touch with your feminine abilities, learning to truly surrender, truly receive, to trust that you can manifest everything that you desire and you can finally, be in flow and allow things to flow to you, I'd love to work with you. That's the work I love to do with my clients. There's a link down in the description and in the pinned comment where you can book a free one-on-one call with me and we can jump on that call, see if we're a good fit to work together. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you and I'll see you in the next video.